Real Sorcery, Strategies for Powerful Magick. This is the second edition of a book that Jason Miller had previously released under the title The Sorcerer's Secrets. And actually, if you have a look at the introduction to the new edition, he explains why the title's been changed, and it's an interesting little tidbit. But I want to talk today about why this is such a popular book and why this second edition is worth your time and why it's worth taking a look at, and for whom it's worth taking a look at, right? I think that if you've been practicing magic for 20 years and you've got your own magic well established, then no, you're not going to enjoy this very much, because this really is pragmatic magic for the beginner, right? Essentially for the beginner. And for people who've been practicing between 1 and 5 years, I guess, something along those lines. But I think that as a beginner's book, this is really great. I think that you can do much, much worse than pick this one up, because it acknowledges what a beginner's really looking for, right? Information on why this works, and also information on what to do, just simple step by step. What should you do for this or that outcome? And there's all of that, Jason Miller practiced as a Tibetan Buddhist for a very long time. So I'd say that his real skill is in understanding subtle energies, which are very important in Tibetan Buddhism, in Vajrayana Buddhism. And so when it comes to things like gestures and subtle energies in the body and directing those subtle energies for particular outcomes, he's really got that down pat. He knows what he's talking about, and he's able to share that in a way that is useful for the beginner, right? Useful and accessible for the beginner. Useful because it's actually simple to follow, if not necessarily simple to fulfill. There's nothing here that cannot be attained by someone who puts in the work, right? There's no expectations for you to go out and acquire lion skin belts, although a lot of this is based in actual grimoire magic. It's actually some good stuff in here. I'm going to insist on this little thing that I was talking about, saying that he is pragmatic in his approach. Well, for example, I really appreciate his section on financial magic. He's written an entire book on financial magic. But I'm going to say that this little chapter that he's got here really gives you reasonable expectations about what you can expect from financial magic. I think that it's a great chapter. I think that it's a really nice primer. And if you're especially looking for financial magic and you've been thinking about maybe buying his book on financial magic, then this is the place to start. This entire book is really the place to start, because all his other books kind of assume that you've read this book, right? That's kind of the thing. And then he's got a really, really nice chapter on love spells, and another really nice chapter on protection and security. And yes, he's got a full book on protection and security, which is really wonderful. But this is, I think, the right place to start, And I think that so many people start off with Donald Michael Craig or Michael Donald Craig, Modern Magic, which is a really nice book, 30 years old or even more by now, right? And it's got some really good starting points, but so much of it is it sets up the beginner magician with some bad habits. And I'm just not sure that it's the best beginner book anymore. I think that this is really nice. Alongside Aidan Wachter's series of 3 books that he's got at the moment, 6 Ways and Weaving Fate and The Changeling, I think that these are the books that I recommend very often for the person who is interested in magic from the perspective of making their lives more comfortable, which is where many magicians start, right? You have to get yourself comfortable before you can start doing the real work of finding your purpose and doing your divine will, right? That tends to come later. and making the world a better place, and so on and so forth. These are things that you can start doing once you've adjusted your own gas mask, right? And then these wonderful 2 appendices that I wanted to draw your attention to. So the Greek vowels and just some help in understanding what's going on with those Greek vowels. A lot of this magic is based in the Greek magical papyri, which is probably to be expected in a book on sorcery, since the magical papyri really are the origin, or at least the oldest stuff that we have access to in the Western tradition. And then a series of 7 seals. I think 3 seals were originally mentioned, and then he's added just the complete set that come from a course that he ran, and then the end notes, right? Not a huge number, so you're not going to be flitting backwards and forwards. And the main point here in this 2nd edition is at the end of every chapter, there is his supplementary new edition commentary. So for every chapter, he says, well, this is what I could tell you 14 years ago. I've got 14 years additional experience now, and I can say confidently that this part really works, this part can be replaced with that or whatever. And here's some additional tips that I know some students of mine have found useful. So have that as well. And I think that's really, really a nice thing to have added to the book. There we go. That's my general overview of the book. I think it's great. I think that the writing style is great. Obviously, he's clearly a very sociable person, and he understands that he's writing to be understood and not just to show off his linguistic prowess. It is written in a very conversational style, which is accessible to absolutely everyone. And I always appreciate that in books that are there to explain something to you. So that's really nice. It's exactly the way it should be. It's accessible. It's affordable. I think it's a really nice book. It's a recommendation from me. There we are. I hope you found the review interesting at least, and hopefully a little useful. I've left a link down in the description. It's an Amazon associate link, so I get a little tip if you use it. It makes no difference to the price to you. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and to subscribe down below if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you very soon with another video. Take care. Bye-bye.